won't mind me saying this, but yeah, Life and Napa sort of, I think, kind of fallen out of Philly a little bit, and the documentary, we might have to ice it. Frankie Namesakes tragically died the other year. We have to do it for Frank now, really, man. It felt like, oh yeah, we don't want to. You're going to take a crumb off my plate.
How many of these fans are going through that as well? And the reason why they relate to you.
Grime and drill has almost become like pop music and gets played on, these mainstream radios. But the essence, this sort of more sort of purist UK hip hop stuff, still don't really get the mainstream plays. I mean, the classic hip hop dance is nod your head or nod your head holding beer.
But you're stuck in your bedroom being the dopest rapper there ever was.
If you do want to come and play at a full clip event, don't think that because I haven't asked you, I'm airing you or anything.
I don't think it's fair for the videographer or the director or whatever to hold that back. Welcome back to the 521 DocuChat. When I'm doing these interviews and the people that I'm looking for to be interviewed here, I always look for people who've got long stories, legacies, or they're active and they're doing something and they're making some kind of noise because it makes it more interesting. However, sometimes there are people that might not be as well known, but they're still doing a lot of things in the background to make things happen for other people. And my guest today is exactly one of those people who's very active, but at the same time, he may not be known by the masses, but he's known by the people that he's been helping over the years. So, before we get into that though, please subscribe to the channel. Click the bell to receive notifications, like, share, and get involved in the comment section below. And now, I'm not going to waste a lot of time making introductions. I'm going to go straight into this with no one else other than Slippy Skills. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, bro. Nice. Thanks for having me on, man.
You're a guy that's basically been making music for years. Yeah. You've been a videographer. You've done things that we're going to talk about. Like you've done a documentary with Phi Life Cypher, or about Phi Life Cypher, and that documentary has never seen the light of day. Yeah. And you got some of the answers as to why that's not seen the light of day yet. So I'm going to talk about that, but we're going to be respectful to, obviously, Phi Life Cypher. That's the first time I met you. You came here in this very room and we done an interview. First things first, give us a little bit of background on yourself.
Yeah, so Slippy Skills, as you know, do a bit of rapping, promoting events, do a bit of drum and bass music, hip hop music, a bit grime. So I like to just do different bits and bobs. Put on events, create videos for people, do a lot of different arty things, and like to get about, support the scene, and just a big fan of the music myself. So yeah, I'm from Luton, around London most of the time. I do my thing, Full Clip magazine. We've just done our 32nd incarnation of that with the events. Before that, I had a thing, I started putting on events in like 2008. It's called Bop and Roll, because I used to play bass in a band. So like, it'd be like, you'd have like 3 sort of grunge punk bands and then like 2 or 3 drum and bass DJs at the end, because I was doing a bit of both. So I'd play bass at the start and then see you later. But then I stopped being in the band and we just honed it into just sticking to more rigidly the hip hop and grime, drum and bass stuff, because that's what I do now, basically. So,
do you want to give us a little bit of background about the band that you were in, so we can build some kind of a picture as to where your beginnings into music came from?
Yeah, well, basically my brother had like this grunge punk band, and then 2 of the guys went off to uni, and then one day he just said, do you want to play bass in the band? And I was like, well, I can't play bass. And he was like, I'll show you what to do. And he was like, okay. And then he goes, what do you want to call the band? And I was like, Flexi Boys. And then that's it. We just called ourselves Flexi Boys. And then, we played around Luton a lot, played at a few festivals. And then that changed to a band called Dinges. We released a vinyl. And then we kind of fell out and departed. It's quite hard to keep like bands together, innit? But we had a few different drummers, R.I.P. Greg. But yeah, that was the thing with the band. Enjoyed doing it, man, and I still like can carry some of that, what I learned from performing in the band. I still carry that forward in what I do with my shit now, because learned some stage presence, and my brother's ethos was always like as well. Don't let putting on a good show get in the way of what you're playing. So sometimes things would get a bit messy, but it looked good on stage. So, you know, the energy, it's more like, yeah, think about the performance over than, it don't matter if you're a bit sloppy with certain things. But you can get away with that a bit more being a grunge bassist than being a lyricist. I can get more pissed being a grunge bassist than I can being a rapper. So.
Imagine if we didn't have all these cameras constantly filming everything, imagine how many mistakes we could get away with and put on amazing shows, because there are no boundaries. You can make mistakes. You can just be creative and free-spirited. And
Yeah, it's nice, yeah. I mean, you even see the greatest people still slip up and, you know, miss a string here and there. So, yeah. But my brother was nuts. He's like a proper like Kurt Cobain sort of guy, just throw his guitar off the stage. I used to dive into somersault into the drum kit. That was always the last thing that we do at the end of the gig.
somersault into the drum
Have
kit.
a bit of a pile up. I accidentally done it once and landed on this like cast iron radiator behind the fucking, and I done it to another gig, and there's some guys were a bit stush, like they wasn't watching our set, and I'd dived into that drum kit, and then we was like, oh damn, we've mashed up that drum kit, but because they weren't watching us, because they were so like up their own asses, like they didn't see that, and we just sort of put it back together without them knowing. But yeah, I used to enjoy that stuff, man. I still like a bit of my rock stuff, but yeah, I used to know just about as many like underground like rock sort of grungy punk bands as I do rappers now. But yeah, I don't know so much about that scene no more because I ain't doing it. So
I think the big question in that segment would be, was it under the influence of drink before or always?
always, yeah.
Always. So if you were not drunk, you wouldn't have done those things.
I probably still would have done it, I guess, but things just got a bit more out of hand. I do remember like sort of guerrilla press slamming my brother once across the pub, and when he landed, he boshed, and everyone was a bit like, ooh, and I was like, shit, that was a bit too much.
Now you're in the hip hop world. How does that differ from the rock world?
Yeah, I think there's a bit more that rough and ready sort of thing that goes on a little bit more with hip hop. But you do start, I've seen, you know, some gigs you go to and people are like moshing, but I think always with hip hop, people have been a little bit more some people try to bring a bit more of a swag and like, you know, like, you know, I'm not this, they don't want to appear to look that screwy. Whereas I'd like to be the antithesis of that and be like, I don't give a shit.
I mean, is it fair to say that you preferred the rock days because of the more animal instinct?
Yeah, well, yeah, some of that was fun. Yeah, people get down a bit more like that, but you know, I like to, you know, we bring some of that energy to some of what we're doing with the hip hop stuff, and I think people have maybe got a little bit. Well, it depends where you go to, really, what the night is saying, but you know, people care a bit more about their creps as well in hip hop gigs, innit? So you know what I mean? Like,
What's the major difference that you see between the two? And, you know, why did you eventually walk away from the rock side of things to go into hip hop?
I think people can be a bit more like, I mean, the classic hip hop dance is nod your head or nod your head holding beer, or you know, aside from breakdancing. But like, yeah, I think people are a bit more free and it's just a bit more encouraged with, and also I think people maybe drink a little bit more at the punk gigs and the rock gigs, to be fair. Like, you know, people go in, it's like encouraged to like, you know, mosh and go crazy and stuff like that. So people get wild. And the music is kind of generally more a bit aggressive and up-tempo, energetic as well. So I guess that comes with it. Not to say you can't get that energy at a hip-hop gig, but...
If there was that energy there, what moved you away from that to go into hip-hop?
Well, I was rapping before, basically, and it was my brother's band, and I was kind of just, like, I never, like, just wanted... I didn't, like, think I'm going to be a bassist. He was just like, I need a bassist in my band now. Do you want to join the band? And yeah, I was just like, okay, just show me what to do. But I never had that inner like passion. Like he would go home and like sit there by himself and happily come up with riffs. But I never really had that inner thing. Like my thing was always lyrics. So, but yeah, I enjoyed doing it. Like, you know, it was good laugh because I was just a fan. And then yeah, got away with got away with it for like a while, man. Like 9 years.
Did you actually rap with the rock band?
A couple of times, but it wasn't really the main thing. When we at one point we lost a drummer, and my brother had programmed all the drum patterns on Logic, and we basically plugged in a phone, and the phone was playing the drums for us. And yeah, we played at the Cocos in Camden, and I think we had the phone plugged in on the stage, and someone made a call to the phone whilst he was playing. So a couple of times like that. We was also in the Battle of the Bands thing because I brought in a bit of that rap element because it was just the two of us. And then we played at this rock Battle of the Bands thing, and then they hated it. Like they wouldn't even speak to us after that because it's like, yo, that wasn't metal or like hard punk. Like he's rapping. Like they hated it, innit? Like they was really annoyed with us. Like the guy won't chat to me, the promoter, after that for a couple of years, just because I rapped. And I was like, man, you act like, you know, the conformists or whatever. And it's like, you guys are more narrow-minded than we are. Like, fucking hell.
So, so it's fair to say your musical journey began, I guess, in your teenage years, or was it before that?
Yeah, I guess, like, my parents always introduced, was playing a lot of mad tunes. Like, actually, the name Slippy sort of comes from that tune, Born Slippy, the underworld, like, lager, lager, lager. That's
Yeah,
kind of where it come from. It used to keep me awake a lot. I think I started rapping when I was about 13 when I gone to some kids at school used to come on the stage and like MC to garage and like assembly and that. And I've been to some girls' like birthday party and saw a couple of guys on like get up on stage and rapping, and I was like, oh, I quite like that, innit? So I just started coming up with bars on the night, to be fair. Something about the BP garage, like to the BP, to the BP.
Were you always kind of so versatile with what you were doing in terms of like, you didn't stick to one genre, you liked a variety of different things, you didn't want to kind of lock yourself into one pigeonhole?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, before I really got more into music, we was just making like comedy films with like this video camera we got in like Tenerife, like me and my brother and my mates. And then I kind of like started breaking away from like just hanging around streets and stuff, sort of pretending we're skateboarding, but really just smoking and that. And yeah, I don't know, like we started listening to more like Wu-Tang, Cypress Hill, Public Enemy, all that stuff. And then I just started getting more into, it started coming up as a joke at first, coming up with rap stuff. My first rap name was Hot Potato. And then just, yeah, we all started just rapping a bit. And then kind of was like, oh, actually, I quite like this. I'm kind of not too bad at it. We was rapping over ringtones and shit back then as well. Like, you know what I mean? Someone get a new phone, they're like, oh shit, what beats you got in it? Like,
You said you made a record as well. So that was when you were in the rock band rather
in
than...
the band, yeah, we had like
So
a
you've never
7-inch
made
vinyl.
a record as a hip hop artist?
I've never put anything on record. I've been on a record, featured on a drum and bass one with DBR UK, but nah, it's just the money and stuff. And I've been putting stuff. CDs is an easier markup.
In your eyes, how has that affected everything for artists in general? I mean, would you be interested in putting physical product out?
Yeah.
Is that the mindset you're in, or are you more about streaming?
I mean, the first album was supposed to come out on vinyl, but then it just became a thing of I don't know if I've got the money right now to. Like, obviously, it cost me a lot of money just to get it all mixed and mastered, and then it was actually paying for the production of the vinyl, and then having the demand for it. It was just like I don't know if I can wait for that return to come back because I just too broke for that. But yeah, I think people do like to own a physical thing, and I try to. So I do all my own graphics myself. So I try to make the artwork look cool as well, and like spend some time doing that, you know, properly make it look like something.
Well, I can clearly say that from all the artwork that I've seen you do and the videos that you do, there's nobody out there like you.
Well, yeah, man. Sometimes I've been out and I'm not even playing at a gig, and I've sold like I've sold CDs on the tube just because I start rapping a bit, and so I'm buying my CD in it, and I'm not going to give away how much they cost exactly, but it's not too bad. Like you can, you know what I mean, and it's less of a commitment. But I would like to put out like an album on record properly because you know I'm a vinyl collector myself.
I guess what I'm baffled at is you've been at this for so long, but yet you still haven't done that.
Yeah.
What stopped you? I mean, aside from money, because if you were that keen on it, you would have made that happen in all these years.
You're right.
So what stopped you?
Yeah, I guess just budget and also I don't know demand like people. I know I had a few people saying they're gonna buy it. It's just that actually I had someone in Texas order my record, but I never got around to making the project, putting it out because I just couldn't afford it at the time.
You know, because it's all about sacrifices, right?
Mm.
So have you ever thought that if I cut back on something else, then I'll be able to do the other something else?
I mean, yeah, sometimes I have to think that with certain things I'm doing. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it would be nice to put something on wax properly.
You've got events that you go to and you jump on stage and you do little performances and stuff, but it seems to me like your focus is more on putting on your events rather than you being an artist and you're just jumping on stage to enjoy yourself.
Selling the product, yeah, I hear that.
You know, is that what you're doing? Like, you know, you're more focused on just putting the events on.
Well, I enjoy like the events, and I think all music is more enjoyed live, and connecting with audiences. You know what I mean? I appreciate doing that. But yeah, I do agree. Like, yeah, I could be more focused on the product.
Let me throw this in there. Are you maybe not focused on the product as much as you should be? Maybe because you kind of don't believe you'll get the sales. Does that ever come into your mind? Because that stops a lot of people because they start doubting themselves. You know, it's like you're getting there. You've done all the recordings. You spent all the money in the mixing, mastering, and then you're like, shit, I've got to spend $4,000 on the manufacturing. What if I don't make that back? And suddenly you're like, you know what? I'll just put it on the streaming platforms.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, if there was a bit of a bigger platform and had a bigger reach, then there'd be more people that are willing to buy it. I mean, I know eventually I could probably shot all the records, but it's just like waiting for the return, I guess.
Do you ever feel like, you know what? Just let me dive in head first, see what happens.
Well, no, we was thinking of releasing because the next album.
Who's we?
So me and Acme have a part 2 of our album. So I released Def Spazio Randagio with Acme Beats last year
on digital,
on Runt Life Records. That was digital and CD, but we have part 2, and we wanted to release that as a double cassette because I know people are releasing more cassettes these days, and maybe take some of the best tunes and release even like a 7-inch or a 10-inch, and just take like 5-6 of the tunes and release that, because it's like that's 30 tracks altogether, so that's gonna be P to like put that all together. But maybe just take some of the best ones and release that, because that would be nice, man.
I wanted to really touch on the Runt Life thing. Can you give us a little bit of background about Runt Life?
Yeah, so...
And you need to big up one particular person.
Yeah, big up Frankie Namesakes. He was the heart of the crew and the label. Runt Life was kind of formed through Rev. A lot of people know Dirty Dockers, Tommy Dockers and Rev. And they were on Blah Records and RLD. Then I think they left the label and Rev just decided to start his own thing. I'd done a few collabs with Mopman and Rev, and I was kind of just doing things on my own. And then I was like, well, I've got all these tunes, I want to release some projects, and sent some to Rev, and he was like, oh, these are cool, like it kind of fit in with the style. Already had some bits and bobs with them as well. So yeah, just kind of joined the roster with that. So that's been active for, I don't know, 9-10 years. I think, yeah, so you've got Mopman on the label, 10 Bag Bandits, Rev, Slippery Trash Mouth, Acme, Jack Slater, Mr. Melter, Taze, Citizen Nugs, Downside Bazaar. Yeah, man, it's just like it's more of, I'd say it's more of a collective of friends that put out bits. There was no official like assigned to the label. It was just like, oh, you want to release stuff from the label? Sick.
Generally, when you see certain things like, record labels, independent, it generally ends up being like people in their community and the friends that they grew up with. But Runt Life is more widespread.
Yeah, well, a lot of us are from different places actually. So like, I kind of met I kind of like stumbled across Mopman online. We was talking online. Then I had him come down to do a gig in Luton, and it turns out that his mum was born on the same road where I was living. So his family's back to Luton, which was crazy. And then like we just became friends. And then he'd had the first release on Runt Life, and I'd already like messed with like Dirty Docker stuff and all that, and I was like, oh, this stuff's pretty dope, man. Like, do you think like they'd be interested in me releasing something on the thing as well? So yeah, man. But Yeah, Frankie Namesakes, tragically died the other year. He was like, yeah, he kept everyone happy, and we have to do it for Frank now, really, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that's all I can say on that.
When you guys came down to do the 521 live, which is what it was called back then, and we might still carry on doing some of those, just depends. I remember Frank came and sat down, and I started hearing him rhyming something, and I liked his energy, but he was just doing it for himself. It's like, and I said to him, "You need to get on the mic," and he was like, "No, no, no, I came here for them, not for me." He didn't.
Yeah.
That's how selfless he was.
He was a very selfless guy, man. The nicest guy.
Yeah, and he, I still remember having that conversation, sitting right there, and basically said, "Bro, come on." And then, do you remember what happened next? When I turned around and got all of you to hear, like,
amp him up, yeah.
Yeah, just to amp him up.
Yeah,
and he
he
went,
killed it.
You know what, screw this, let me just get on.
Yeah.
And he did it, and the energy was amazing.
Yeah.
And from that, he kept checking up on me. Randomly at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm getting Facebook messages from him. And then we exchanged numbers and everything, and we just carried on talking for maybe 2, 3, 4 months. And then the message.
Yeah, I know, man. I couldn't believe that when I had that. But yeah, man.
So how did that affect the rest of you at Runt Life?
Well, like, yeah, we couldn't believe it. I mean, in our group chat, he was always the one that was, bringing a good vibe and always like, yes, like, like he was always bringing a good vibe and a joke and talking about different things we can do and different things we can push it. He really believed in it. He literally said it with chest. He's got Runt Life tattooed across his chest. Yeah, that's why we can't really let that go, man. We've got to keep pushing it for Frank. But
I felt like his energy was like he was more focused on making others happy, making others pursue their dreams rather than him.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'm cool to be broke as long as I got my bag of weed.
Look, he wasn't the most like, affluent guy, but I remember even like I was filming a music video with him and Mopman and Ray Vendetta. And the girl we was out with, they got a man like KT. I don't think she had quite enough money to pay for this thing, and then Frank just ended up paying for it. And he'd never even met this girl before, and that's just the kind of guy he was.
I've never said this to anybody, but if I can find my messages back in Facebook, he was offering basically to pay for so many things for me, and I'm like, bro, I'm cool.
Yeah.
But he was just like, yeah, if you ever need any help, like, and his energy is like,
yeah.
So that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. He was always checking in, like, yeah. So that was a big hole, and that hasn't actually been filled really, like with the whole.
Can it ever be filled?
No, man. He's our old dirty bastard, basically. You know what I mean? If Rev was the inception, and the head and the brain or whatever, like he was the heart, man. So, but we got to push on and stuff. We got a mixtape coming out, Gang 90 mixtape. So the crew's more like Gang 90. That's the crew. Runt Life is the label. So we've got loads of tracks with Frank on that we haven't released yet. So hopefully we're going to put that out next year. So yeah, you'll still be hearing his voice. Some new tracks from Frank coming out. So yeah, he's on a couple of tunes on my next album as well.
In America, when you got a personality like Frank, right, they're hailed throughout the country, throughout the culture, throughout whatever, as this person that basically carried the torch and still inspires and still carries the torch, even in their passing. And when I see people like Frank, and I'm not just saying this because I only met him a few months before he passed away, sadly, right? But I always felt like this guy's spirit should have been much bigger. It should have been. Like, he if he was basically from Runt Life, it doesn't matter if someone else from something else. He still had the same energy for everybody.
Yeah, he was so supportive. He came down to do a gig before, and he didn't even perform it, and he was just there to support it. And was like, Frank, get on the stage, innit? And he's like, nah, man, I'm just here to enjoy the thing, Travel from far as well, like, to come to places. But he was also a really dope, like, lyricist. Crazy flow. You can't recreate that, man. Mad. He'd fit in more words than you'd think you could fit in a sentence, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I can vouch for that because that what he did here is one of my most memorable moments.
Yeah, it's technical, man. It's hard to fucking, you know what I mean? It's pretty techie, man.
But that's what I'm saying. Honest to God, I just remember when you guys were on, and you were doing your thing, and I was sat there with him, and he was just rhyming, and I'm like,
And that,
you need to get on the mic.
like the raw voice of him as well.
Yeah, but you need to get on the mic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm so glad that you all jumped in and did that, because we managed to capture a moment there.
Definitely,
And
man.
then, like I said, he passed away not long after.
Yeah.
So,
And then R.I.P. to the Schwung Slugger as well. Obviously, almost
of
won,
course, yeah.
which was like a week before, which was crazy. I couldn't believe that.
I was mad.
In the space of a week.
That was mad.
Yeah, man.
If someone was to be going through something, would you be able to spot it and basically say to them, yo, you're not alone. We'll Runt Life for life?
It is hard. I mean, a lot of us, a lot of us can be quite depressing guys. Sometimes, a lot of things get on us. Right now I'm going through some shit. But yeah, I think a lot of artists use this as therapy. Sometimes I've written some lyrics this year that probably never going to record, but I wrote them, and it was good just to sometimes help your head get through things. But yeah, a lot of us go through different things, man.
And that's really important, you saying that, because I feel like when I was getting into music, I just felt like it was a way for people to kind of hear what I was saying. Because you try and speak to them in normal situations, and unless they know you, no one wants to hear you. So you're like, how do I get to a wider audience? How do I, get my story told and whatever? Because I feel my story is fairly unique. Not everyone's been walking the same path as I've walked. So yeah, I want to get some of my story out there and whatever. And I always found that music was the way. I found that when I was depressed, music made me undepressed. When I was suicidal, music made me want to carry on. It was these things. So it's interesting you say that, because I wonder how many musicians go through that as well. But yet there are some that aren't strong enough to do the carry on thing.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I mean, I used to write loads of depression stuff, but I tried to veer off it a bit, because if I put myself in that mindset, it can it just brings me down. But sometimes it's good to just get things off, right? And yeah, I've got some tunes that are a bit more deeper and dark like that, and I've had some people connect with them and say, yo, I really like that, man, because it spoke to me and I can relate with it.
Isn't that worrying in itself, though? If it spoke to them, it's like you got to wonder what they're going through.
Yeah, you should.
Because that's obviously another thing to even put into the equation, because you get the artists, but then you got to question, not even question, but you got to ask yourself, why is that person a fan of me? So if I'm talking about like mental health issues and suicide and depression and all that, and that's the fans you got to ask yourself, how many of these fans are going through that as well? And the reason why they relate to you.
It's a good thing to pick up on. I mean, yeah, if you send them, because I do some quite funny tunes, some vibey tunes, and if that person says to me, that was my favourite tune, and it's like the most depressing shit you've ever written, then maybe you need to check up on that person a bit, you know what I mean?
This is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. But yeah, for sure, man, people go through things, but yeah, that's why I think sometimes it's good to bring a good vibe and just, help people to focus on. I try to steer more to bring in good vibes now.
Moving on to talking about Full Clip.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of background on Full Clip magazine.
Yeah. So yeah, we started doing bits. So as I said before, we was doing Bop and Roll in Luton 2008, and then probably about what does it say? Yeah, 2017. We done the first one in New Cross Inn. That was still a mixture of rock and hip hop, but then.
So Full Clip magazine is an event, not a magazine.
Yeah, let me explain that. Yeah.
Okay.
So Full Clip magazine was actually going to start as a magazine. And then the thing with the magazine is that's the bit that holds bullets in a gun. So that's also the clip. But then we realized, we made a few pages, we'd interview some people, and then we realized actually putting together a magazine was quite a lot of work. So it was actually on when we relaunched as Full Clip 2, but that was going to be issue 1. We was going to release a zine alongside with the event. And we never got around to doing it. But yeah, we just hold on to that. We've got the magazine thing that goes with it, because the gun thing sort of relates, And then the rappers are bullets for me. So yeah.
Do you know there's another Full Clip out there as well?
There's another Full Clip.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the song Gangstar.
Okay, but there's also a radio station. Do you know DJ Random and them guys do a thing called Full Clip?
I don't think so. No, I think I saw like a Full Clip, some American thing. I think.
No, it's not that.
I've seen some other things, call center things, of like Full Clip in America. There was some sort of like radio thing, but I didn't think there was that active. But
So I guess the word magazine is what flips it on your thing.
yeah, and then when I do this, the Instagram posts and everything, and put up the social media posts, create the graphics, and I like to put a little bit of a bio about each artist, and that kind of ties in some of the magazine-y bit, I guess, because you're getting a bit of information about each artist that you present it to. So that kind of ties in with it. But yeah, it's really just an events thing for underground artists.
So originally it started in 2008.
That was when it was called something else.
Yeah, Pop and Roll.
Yeah.
And then how long before the transformation into Full Clip?
So yeah, I stopped promoting for a while and just started wanting to go around different open mics. Used to be a regular doing bits of Slam Jam.
So focusing on being an artist more.
And yeah, literally. I remember sometimes I've hit like 4 open mics a week sometimes, man. But yeah, and then 2017 we started doing bits. We kind of had another break after that, and a couple of years later, I was just basically working for the Jago in Dalston doing their social media, and they said, "Oh, would you like to put on an event?" And I was like, "Yeah, I probably could do that," and then kind of just relaunched with it then.
Being an artist is fairly simple if you're not looking at all the worldly things like the fame, the glory, the whatever. Yeah. So it depends on what kind of artist you want to be, whether you're out there chasing all those things or whether you just want to be the dopest artist you can be. So if you just want to be the dopest artist, then the only person in competition with you is you.
Yourself,
yeah. There's nobody else. You're not competing. You're not trying to make money. You're not trying to get all the shows. But you're stuck in your bedroom being the dopest rapper there ever was. Yeah. What kind of artist did you want to be? And if you were going for the route of you would like acknowledgement for what you do and so on, how difficult has that been?
Yeah, I mean, I just really enjoy creating the music and creating the videos and stuff like that. That's what I've always liked doing. But yeah, it can be a little bit disheartening and demotivating when you think, oh shit, is this are people gonna get on people's radar? But then I'm not necessarily doing it. Like I didn't get into making hip hop because I thought I'm gonna be like #1 and make loads of money from it. But yeah, I didn't do it to think, yo, I'm gonna get into this music stuff and that's gonna be my job. I just kind of started doing it for a bit of a laugh really and enjoyed doing it, and I've just always liked putting together lyrics. But yeah, it can be difficult. I mean, when you've got the reason why that album that came out, the first one that I eventually dropped, there was 2 before that I never actually ended up putting out. But when I eventually dropped the Multiple Mind States album, like when I got a quote of how much it cost to like mix and master, and I was like, oh, but I've got like 16 tracks. Like it's gonna take me a while to get this all put together. I didn't even check my Spotify Wrapped last year, and I didn't even check it, the statistics. Everyone's sharing their statistics, and I don't really, but I honestly haven't even looked at it because, I don't want to gauge things on how well I'm doing through on what Spotify is saying and streams.
Like I said, there's those people that were in it for the art and those that were in it for something different.
I mean, that's what we try and do with the events, like preserve this culture and this keep the UK thing going, because
at the risk of being broke for the rest of your life.
yeah, that's true. And I mean, there is it is a bit of a shame because grime and drill has almost become like pop music and gets played on these mainstream radios, but the essence, this sort of more sort of purist UK hip hop stuff, still don't really get the mainstream play. So
what's the future for Full Clip magazine?
Full Clip magazine, we got our next event in Peckham, January the 23rd, and then that's at the Greyhound Peckham, and then February we got one in Luton. I think that's the 22nd, so that will be more focused on Luton artists. And I never got into this promoting thing to try and be like some big time promoter. It's just like, no, there wasn't many people doing it, and it's like we need more people to do it, really, innit? And just put more people on. It's not like a rocket science thing. The more I wouldn't be, if someone else wanted to put on these events, I'd be like, crack on, that's great. Like we've got another platform, another gig that we can all perform at. Like, you know what I mean? So,
I mean, what's the danger of you kind of regurgitating the same artists?
Yeah, the danger of regurgitating. I mean, it's good to try and bring in it's nice to bring in some artists that we haven't put on before and bring in an audience that will, you know, if we can introduce this person, we can introduce new people to different artists, then that's a good thing, I think, you know what I mean? And just recently what we've been doing as well is giving people sort of like, if you want to do like an album launch or something, then that just makes a bit of noise about their release, and it just helps.
From your perspective, can you please explain the importance of working alongside, you mentioned the word platforms?
Yeah, I think the cross-promotion stuff and working with other platforms is really important to help, yeah, just grow the audience. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think Full Clip has, like, yeah, I'm going to big myself up here a bit. I think with some of what I've done, it's not me, just me, but I have helped some of the scene just be a bit more together. I mean, me personally, there's certain artists that were a bit standoffish with me. But because I've approached them and said, hey, do you want to do a gig? Then they're like, oh, this is a byproduct of what I'm doing. But they'll be like, oh, yeah, sick, like, Slippy's kind of safe. He actually asked me want to do a gig. Actually, he's all right. And I think there's a lot of that, not just from what I'm doing, but I've helped the scene sort of like, you know, people supporting each other. Because I felt before at a certain point, when I was starting at least, it felt like, oh, yeah, we don't want to, you're going to take a crumb off my plate. But now, kind of help people just come together a bit more. Social media does it anyway. But yeah, I think just supporting each other. I mean, yeah, realistically, it's all this. We're all trying to like build the same audience. So the more platforms, etc., and artists that support each other, the better. Like if I can introduce you to this person, and not in a selfish way, but if I introduce you to this person, then they might be like, oh, actually like your stuff as well. You know what I mean? And then it's sort of the chain.
And you've done that. I mean, when we got Runt Life in here, it was through you. You know, I called you, and you made the rest of them come down, and you know, people travel from Bristol and wherever else, and what a dope day that was as well.
It was a great day. Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was a lot of fun, and we had heads flying off and everything.
Yeah, Rev's head was here. Yeah, no doubt. I was hanging that day as well, but it was a great day.
Yeah, it was. It was. The first time I met you, you approached me and said, "Can I do an interview with you to do with a certain group, right? Which we're going to talk about. But give us a little bit of insight into your videography without talking about that."
Yeah, so I mean, I've started making videos when I was a kid, just from like, you know, holiday camera. We used to make comedy films and stuff. Then I went on to study like visual communication at Birmingham University. Took it a bit further. Started learning animation and video stuff, and yeah, that's what I do is my day to day now, just like freelance videography. You know, I've done stuff for corporate-ish clients, some bigger clients, and then independent clients. And the biggest thing I've done is for like this Adidas Nemesis football boot launch. We had all like the big players at the time. I pretended I knew who some of the players were a bit more, and it became apparent when there's like, oh yeah, pass that trophy to what's his name, and I'm like, I don't actually know that much about football, innit? But I blagged my way onto it anyway. Yeah, I've done some. I think we've done a video for Planet Asia. What I'm trying to do now a bit more is, because I had the stuff, I just like, oh, Slippy Skills done the video. Because we've built a little bit of a thing with Full Clip, just saying if any artists, like hip hop artists or rap artists, want a video done, then we've branched out and called this Full Clip Media, and we'll promote it across our socials as well. So if anyone needs a music video or any graphics or art, get in touch, and yeah, happy to do some stuff.
What's your turnaround time?
Yeah, pretty quick, man. It depends what I've got on. It depends what I've got on, but I can be here, there, and everywhere. You know, I get about. So it really depends on, like, you know, what the video is. Sometimes people ask me, oh, how much is this video? And I'm like, well, it's kind of a little bit how long's a piece of string, like, you know what I mean, with this animation, like, you know, if we're shooting, like, how complicated it is. It's just all on time, really.
With regards a video that you made, is there anyone that stands out in your mind? And as well as that, what's your personal favorite?
Well, I'd have to say, I made this music video about 10 years ago. It was a DJ Napper from Phi Life Cypher's beat, and we done a video in a curry house with my friends, Graffiti Jag, big up Nizzle. And yeah, everyone loved that video. So we turn up and just talk about a English guy going there trying this hot curry and not being able to handle it. And yeah, there was a like 10-year anniversary of that the other day. Put it up, and yeah, it's got some good response on that one.
That's your personal favorite.
Yeah, I like that one. It's pretty jokes.
I think most of your videos are pretty jokes.
New
You
Year,
do
New Me
some
was a
random
jokes
stuff,
one.
bro.
Yeah, I don't really like to do the same thing twice. I like to do different things. We've got a new one coming out, Billy Bear Ham, which of Billy Bear Hamtham with the Rev from Runt Life, and yeah, featuring. So I started. I've come up with a scenario that this bear has come to a party, and is offering out this Billy Bear, like that rubbish, crappy ham, and someone gets mash up off of it. I end up getting mash up off of the bear because he's a chief giving me this ham, and then I turn out having a good time off of it. But I'd written the lines out. Like I didn't even know I was going to do this until I was in the studio. But I'd actually recorded it in a bear voice, and yeah, got a bear suit, and that I don't know if that's going to be out by the time this episode comes out. But yeah, Rev featuring Billy Bear Hams and Slippy Skills, Billy Bear Hamtham.
And that's one of the things I really like about you is we never know what to expect next.
Yeah.
You know, like you drink a lot and you make no secret of it. Like you enjoy yourself a lot.
Yeah.
You make no secret of it. Mm-hmm. It amazes me that you still manage to keep your events together. You know, because you go there and you get involved with everybody.
Yeah.
But you still manage to kind of keep everything together. So your personality is one that, since the day I met you, I've never forgotten. It's like, yo, this guy is just jokes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, you deliver.
Nice one. I appreciate that. Our parties are kind of a little bit raggo and rough around the edges and has a bit of that punk deal. It's like we don't take it too seriously. We're going to have a laugh, but we still keep it running. But, you know.
With regards to videography, do you want to describe, do you want to tell people how me and you met?
Okay, yeah. So first, that was a funny encounter. Like, came down to meet you when this looked completely different about 12 years ago, right? So me and Neil, or Nizzle Hizzle, had started. So he was involved with Phi Life Cypher, which was crazy because I was from Luton, and yeah, someone at school first showed me this Phi Life Cypher CD, and I didn't believe them that they was from Luton. I was like, nah, what's on about? You know what I mean? They can't be from Luton. And then I realised there's a whole world of UK hip hop after that. Which I discovered on some of that on Kazaa and stuff like that. Like I discovered Jess from Kazaa, like downloading stuff. But anyway, I'm drifting off. So yeah, me and Neil had started making this Phi Life Cypher documentary, and we was going around interviewing different artists. You know, I came into it a bit later. He knew them pretty well from like driving them around and trying to help with some promotion. Yeah, and then one of the people we come to interview was you. And yeah, we interviewed like Jest, Chester P, KRS-One, R.A. the Rugged Man, Caveman, yeah, yourself, 279, Capo. We was building up a pretty solid documentary, and then the day that we'd finished put out the first trailer, because I'd just been working on a music video for Life and Napa. And just as we'd finished, put out the first trailer, the guy said to me, yeah, the only thing is we've kind of had a bit of a fallout. I hope they don't mind me saying this, but yeah, Life and Napa sort of, I think, kind of falling out of Philly a little bit. And the documentary, the day I was like, oh yes, the trailer, it's like, we might have to ice it. So, and yeah, it sat on ice for a while, man. There's a lot of content there, some like great footage and interviews there. But I think the thing with the group as well, and I hope they don't mind me saying, but I always thought the film would have a beginning and a middle and an end. And we kind of had, the beginning, the middle, but it still doesn't really have a full end to finish off the film, which I thought would be the release of the next album, The Professionals. I thought that would be a great way to finish the film, but yeah, at the moment I'm not really sure. And there's different footage spread around, also a few,
from a fan perspective, because I've always been a Phi Life Cypher fan.
Yeah, for sure.
And obviously,
they speak very highly of you, man.
I'm close friends with Life. We talk all the time and everything. I think the world needs to see that.
Yeah.
So it would be nice if whatever the differences are get resolved.
Well, I know that obviously Philly and Life and Apple all cool now,
Yeah.
and yeah, Philly actually helped me shoot a music video, but had a little bit. It was a bit of a problem for a little while when they parted ways, obviously. But I think they're cool again now, and there's a lot of footage there. It's a bit of work as well to put it all back together. You know, it wasn't in a finished state to begin with. It was kind of like, here's the trailers, but the film's not like fully finished.
Who do you think is kind of holding it from happening? Because I feel like when I was speaking to Neil, it's like he was reluctant to release any of the footage, and I don't understand why that was the case. You know, at least give the footage to the guys, you know, to Life, to the side, to Napa.
Yeah.
At least give the footage to them and maybe let them decide what they want to do with it. Because, you know, you basically filmed that footage off the back of, you know, the group that you're a fan of and everything.
I do hear that.
In my mind, I'm thinking you don't really have a right to hold on to that.
I mean, he's had his own issues going on, and a few, like you say, differences. But yeah, I mean, every time I see Philly, I mention it like, yo, we need to finish that at some point. I mean, I've got bits on hard drives. Neil's got bits on hard drives. It's also the time that it's going to take to actually put it together.
Well, and you don't think the time is worth putting into this?
I didn't say this.
Like,
I didn't say
I'm just asking,
that.
and you don't think, you know,
No,
because it's like this is the kind of documentation that needs to happen so that people's stories get told.
Yeah.
And it just feels like it's criminal.
No, it does need. I think, yeah, it would be definitely dope to, but I think what the main element that would be missing, unless we change the direction of it, but it would just be nice if it had.
But even without an ending, the ending could be like the group split up. That could be it simple. You know,
it's been on the back of my mind like since we started making it. You know, like I think it does. It would be nice to put that all together.
Listen, all I'm saying is it's going to be unfair for their story not to be told.
For sure, man.
You know what I mean? Because you know, there's a lot of people that were speaking highly about them.
There'll be a lot of people that want to see that.
And for other artists to come forward and want to contribute to it as well, it shows the level of respect everybody had for them. And that would be a shame to keep it locked away from people's eyes.
I have even, like, along the way, since we started making it and since we stopped, I've even picked up other interviews along the way. Like, I did one with Pav and Syntax and Res One. I think I even interviewed again Chester later at another point, just because I was like, yeah, we do need to finish that. And I've got extra bits that I've added. We've got one with Skinny. Yeah, it does need to come together, but yeah, it just needs that little bit of a drive and a motivation. It kind of needs a bit of a sit down as well with everyone and just saying, yo, let's get it done, let's wrap it up. Maybe I need to just chat to them and seeing like how we can go about finishing it off.
And I'm not saying...
But it would be nice. I think I did see Life the other day saying that they were teasing and talked about releasing the album that they were making, the professionals. So maybe it's now the time is kind of here.
I think ultimately the group should have the ultimate say about what happens.
For sure. I mean, I've got some bits there. So
I'm just saying, I don't think it's fair for the videographer or the director or whatever to hold that back.
No,
because you're holding back somebody's life story.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
You know? So that's just my opinion, but I'm speaking from the perspective of being an artist myself.
Yeah.
If someone did that to me, I'd be like, yo, just get the stuff out there.
Yeah.
What did we do all this work for?
I know.
I mean? It's like
it is kind of
12
sitting
years.
there. But at the same time, it is, you know, it's developing as life as not actual life, but like as things develop over time, then it's not maybe it's not a terrible thing that it's been, you know, because now we can go back and we can even interview you again, and it's gonna like, you know,
yeah, you'll get.
It might become more of an interesting film to show the journey.
I look forward to seeing the finished product there.
It's gonna come out one day, and it was called Freestyle: The Strength of Street Knowledge was the working title. But yeah, I mean, being from Luton as well, and then being one of the first guys that inspired me. That's why I wanted to do it.
And that's one of the things that kind of grates on me a little bit, because you and Neil are both from there. Mm-hmm. So it's like, why would you want to hold back your own history?
Yeah, I mean, me and Neil lost contact as well for quite a long time, but recently we started chatting again. So, and I have mentioned it. So,
okay, fingers crossed.
We just need the gel
crossed.
and the motivation.
We need to start kind of wrapping this up and everything. Is there anything else that we've missed that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I guess I could just say upcoming project. Gonna do Spazio Randagio Part 2, which can I just explain? Spazio is Italian for space, and Randagio is like it's supposed to be Runt in Italian, but actually kind of translated more to stray dog, which I got tattooed on my arm when we was in Sicily on a recording studio.
Yeah, you've been touring quite a bit as well. I keep seeing you. You even had some kind of beef with a camel once, didn't
Oh
you?
yeah, the camel, yeah, that Moroccan camel. He didn't like me, man. Nah. I've been, I've been getting about. Yeah, we dropped, and I was out in, yeah, been just trying to reach a few different spots, man, and enjoy places. I went over to Austria, done some. They really like the drum and bass over there, and then ended up chucking in this like Arnold Schwarzenegger reference. They loved that. That's been going off. Ended up getting a review in a Spanish DJ mag. That was pretty cool. Yeah, man, but I haven't seen that camel for a little while, man. He had the hump with me, man. Humphrey.
That's such a dad joke. But yeah, your projects. So are we going to see some vinyl come from you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, to be fair, like now he's saying that, I mean, me and me have talked about doing that. Maybe not like a pressing of 200, 100 vinyls, but maybe just more of a limited, smaller ones that are more palatable. Maybe. Yeah, look out for Spazio Randagio Part 2 coming out. I've got some more bits coming out. Look out for the Runt Life Gang Natty mixtape, RIP Namesakes, the Schwung Slugger, all the other fallen. Yeah, big up for having me on. And yeah, the other thing I would say is if you do want to come and play at a full clip event, don't think that because I haven't asked you I'm airing you or anything, or I just know I might not have heard you. But the best way to get onto a lineup is just come down and support the gig and turn up to one, and then I'm more likely to think, yeah, let's put this person on because they've come through and supported it without asking to get something in return so much. You know what I mean?
That in itself can be a bit annoying. The fact that people don't support what you do, but they just go, "Yo, put me on."
I've had someone say to me, "You've done 32 events and you've never put me on," and I'm like,
"I've done 32 events and you've never turned up.
Never come." You get me? Yeah. So that's what I'd say. Like, yeah, half the time, if you come through, as long as you're not like crap, then they'll probably put you on. You know what I mean?
But sometimes it's okay to put the crap on, so the good
It's
ones
good. It's
look good
good,
as
man.
well.
Yeah, I'm not even like you can be crap as well, man. Like, you know what I mean? And there's always open mic, and it's good to build the craft. And I'm not, it's cool to put on, help people, support people, and that. You get me?
Now, respect for what you've been doing with all of that, and like I said, I'm always like, I see what you're up to. I don't always get the opportunity to get there, all that kind of stuff, but you will see me one day.
Yeah, big up, man.
This was just a bit of a random one. He came down to do a one take. We didn't really plan to do a DocuChat. We had no kind of structure as to what we were doing, but I just felt like, you know what, this is someone that does deserve to have a DocuChat so that we can get a little bit more background on all the stuff that he has done, because he hasn't just been just out here for the last 5 minutes. He's been out here for a long time in the background, making music, putting on events, videography, putting out videos and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, if anybody out there needs videos done, here's another person that you can hit up. I'll put his links in the description below. So please make sure you go and follow him, and yeah, just support the events that he does. Yeah. Anyway, aside from that, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell to receive the notifications, like, share, and get involved in the comment section below. All right. Thanks again for being here, bro.
Thank you.
And
thanks, man.
Good luck with the events.
Pleasure, man.
You see me soon.
Cheers, bro.